My mother told me the stories about what it used to be like in the UK before the Second World War. Right. How everything, you had to pay for everything. There was no healthcare, nothing at all. You looked after your parents the best you could. There was if people were destitute, there was charity that you could fall on, but you didn't want to fall on that stuff. You didn't want to go back to that. You were means tested. Mm-hmm. You were means tested by the government for the handouts. Right. My mother used to live in Hull, and she said they used to go out and pick up coal that fell off the trucks that went to the docks, because that's how people heated their houses. They didn't have any money to buy coal, so they used to pick it up off the trucks that were going by and take it home in a bathtub to warm the house and to heat the water and to cook their food. And they would be inspected, and they would come round and they would knock on the door, and they would ask you, they would demand that they came in if you were receiving government help for medicines, and they would look around your house and they would see that's irrelevant, pictures not needed, you have to sell this stuff, pawn it off. And you've got a basic thing, a table to eat off. How many people in the family? 4 chairs, that's all you need. How many beds? You only need 2 beds. How many sets of sheets? You only need 1 set of sheets. She said, and people used to bury their, they used to go out and bury, if they had an idea that the means testers were coming, they would go out and they would bury their heirlooms in the garden, things that were precious to them. Wow. And that's a system that they worked in before there was a National Health Service, brought in by, of course, a Labour government. Right. 1946, I think, or 47.
Let me ask you one more question, and you've given pretty good responses to those. Calgarians, Albertans, like North Americans, but especially it seems Albertans, usually don't go out and rise up and protest when things are happening.
No.
Education is important, but they didn't protest openly or vigorously some of the cutbacks we've seen.
Right.
We can talk about various things that we've seen cut back. Yet they've rose up again and again to protest and to confront the people who are destroying our healthcare system. Why do you suppose that's the case? Why all the public support?
Why the public support? Because I think that whoever you are, it doesn't matter if you're an ordinary citizen. I'm not talking about people who, I'm not talking about the upper 10%, who own the companies, who work in the big high-paying oil patch positions. The vast majority of people in this province, either working in the city, toiling away, they're not making very much money. They really, really rely on healthcare. They want healthcare. They need it. It's something that they feel is a basic right. They pay for it. They want it supplied to them constantly. They don't want it undermined. I was talking to a friend in Lethbridge, and they said, the absolute groundswell of kind of anger that there might be cuts to the system here in Lethbridge is amazing. And this is a really kind of right-wing countryside down here. I said, well, that's the funny thing. It doesn't matter really amongst ordinary people which side of the political spectrum you are on. You can be out there with Attila on the right-hand side, but you still want your health care. And that's a funny thing, that it doesn't matter where you sit. If you try and mess with that, and that's what happened with our government here. They suddenly realized, oh, look, our rural base, they're the ones who always support. It doesn't matter whether we bring out a donkey with a PC jacket on, they'll vote for it. But suddenly, the donkey's starting to say, we need to cut this stuff and privatize, and we're going to cut beds here, and you promised us there'd be an old folks home here in wherever. And suddenly, that was your election promise, and suddenly you turn around and, oh, it's not going to happen now. No, we voted for you for that. We put you there.
Right.
And it's very important. That's why I think it's one of the. I don't think I've ever seen anything. I've lived here since 1976. I used to think this was a dead place. I used to think nobody cares anything about politics here at all. It's horrible. You know, there's no political discussion. That was in the 70s. The only political discussion was we hate Eastern Canada. And that seemed kind of like a knee-jerk reaction. It was stupid.
Yeah.
But no, I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything that's politicized people like the healthcare.